tap the app for local information and classic hits. Search KCIM in your app store now.
It is 7:08 here on this Friday morning. Finally Friday, Super Bowl weekend coming up. So many cool things going on. And, of course, we're just coming off the Chamber Banquet, which you were in attendance at last night, Nathan Cones. And we are happy to have with us a finely coiffed Citizen of the Year, Dave Bruner. Man, Dave, congratulations on the award last night. We're having you in a little bit early for a very specific reason. Explain that reason to us.
Well, first of all,
we're going to make you do
Yeah,
this.
you are, aren't you? First of all, thanks you guys for having me in this morning. No, I was telling you off air that I've struggled to schedule this haircut for about 3 or 4 weeks. I finally scheduled it for this morning at 8 o'clock, and so I got to go. Becky, here I come. I'll be there right at 8 o'clock. I'm not going to miss it this time. So
it takes quite a bit. It takes quite a bit to shake me. I was like, "Hey, 8 o'clock tomorrow morning." Deadpan. You know, everyone's congratulating him. He's having a good time. I feel bad interrupting. He's like, "I got a haircut." Are you serious?
We have been stood up many times, but never for a haircut. That's a new one on me. So,
and again, no offense, you guys.
Yeah,
we're teasing.
So let's talk about it. Surprise last night? I mean, you said you were digging around for information before the banquet ever began.
Yeah, you know, I was curious the last couple of days because there was some whispering at the office, and my brother Barry wasn't as vocal as he typically is when he's in the office. Usually, he's divulging every information that he might come across in the community. And I specifically asked him, I said, "Hey, Barry, have you heard anything about some of the award winners for Thursday night?" And he was kind of quiet. And he said, "No, but that's all kept in a tight box. Nobody knows, not even me."
That, you know, when I assume in a lawyer's office, when people are whispering and not telling you things, that's a time to panic.
It is. You know, and then I asked my wife, Natalie, I said, "Have you heard anything about any award winners?" And she goes, not a thing. You know, Franny won't tell me anything. Barry won't tell me anything. Don't know anything about it. So that it kind of raised my curiosity a little bit. And then I just let it go.
Yeah.
You know, I just let it go, and then all of a sudden, Matt Gredeman's up there.
And you started piecing it together,
and I'm thinking, okay, here it is. Yeah. So nice surprise.
So last year's winner, Matt Gredeman, you guys have worked together and known each other for years and years and years and are friends. I mean, how cool is that to get? He was pretty surprised by his Citizen of the Year, at least I thought so anyway.
Yeah.
And then to get that award from someone you've done so many things with over the years, not just professionally, but for the community too. Yeah,
that is kind of neat. Matt and I go way back, back to Kemper High School, and we actually started the Kemper High School tennis program back in the late 70s. Matt was a much better tennis player than I, but that's how far back we go. I'm not going to tell you how many years ago that is, but you can figure it out. But yeah, Matt's a good guy, and of course the first sentence out of his mouth was something about tennis, I think, last night. So that cued me up right away.
Mm-hmm. Your family's been involved so much with all sorts of things in Carroll. Where does that come from? You know,
at least for the second generation, for Barry and I, it started with our folks, Bob and Larry and Bruner. They really emphasize that you know, if you're in a community, you got to give back. You know, you can't be a taker. You got to give something back to the community and its people, and try to make it a better place. They almost made it an obligation that we have to our communities, wherever you land, whether it be Carroll or Des Moines or
I was going to say, was it always kind of, did you always know you were going to live in Carroll and be in Carroll?
You know, I did not. You know, I was the typical high school kid that said, you know, after graduation,
I'm out of here.
I am gone, and, you know, adios. But things changed, and I worked my way back here. Luckily, Dad and Barry were practicing law after I had graduated, and after practicing in Des Moines for about 5 years, and then down in Guthrie Center, I eventually made it back up here. So, and that was kind of neat to be able to be in the same business as my father in his later days and years. Mm-hmm. So that was really kind of cool.
And so this is the time where you don't get to be humble. No humbleness here. But the list of all the things you have been involved in is so long that I was trying to make a list prior to you coming in, and I couldn't do it because I was like, I'm missing things here. But I mean, you look back on your time in Carroll, all the things you've done, pick 3 or 4 that you think really stood out for you as like, this has made a huge difference in the community.
What was the first one? I'm curious about too. I want to know the big
start at the beginning.
Yeah. Now we're making him think.
Yeah,
he's on the spot.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Most recently, I'm thinking of the Kemper Capital campaign that has been very successful, wrapping up right now. I think we'll be at $10 or $11 million. After that, I'm kind of working back here a little bit, Nathan. I was involved I was with the Animal Rescue League of Carroll, not the Animal Rescue League, Animal Rescue of Carroll. Mm-hmm. And we fundraised and built the new facility out east here, which I think has been an asset to the Carroll community. Just been on different boards. A couple of things that I really enjoyed was volunteering coaching at the junior high basketball level, which can be an interesting age group to work with. As you guys probably know, the 7th and 8th graders are
well, they're semi-pro at that level, right?
Well, that too, yeah. And of course, their attention span is about nothing.
Yeah.
But then coached mock trial for about 20 years, and so I don't know if I have a favorite.
It's tough. I mean, again, it's one of those. I think it highlights kind of the point, though. There's so many different things that even picking a few is such a challenge for you.
How about baseball? Where did that fit in there?
That does fit in there. We got such a wonderful facility and stadium there, and it was tremendous to get the state baseball tournament back after what was it, about a 10-year hiatus, I believe.
Yep.
So yeah, that's a great asset to the community, and we're glad to get hundreds, maybe even thousands of people through Carroll for a few days in July.
Yeah, whenever I think about the baseball projects, I think about you guys, Barry and you and all those being the really kind of some of the driving force behind, let's get this stadium, let's improve the stadium and turning it back to what it was originally. That was brilliant.
Yeah. Barry and his group were a huge part of that. Keeping that historic aura of that park. And again, there's I don't know if there's another park like that, at least in the state of Iowa.
Yeah, it keeps winning awards all the time.
Yeah.
So
really interesting on the baseball on Merchants Park. That project was just getting started, not in terms of the fundraising, but the work on it when I first came to Carroll. So I used to drive by that stadium every single day. And I remember the first time, didn't know the community very well at all, and I thought, man, that's a really neat old stadium that's just kind of gotten run down. Didn't know it was getting worked on, didn't know any of the stuff. And then within a year, I'm like, I got to see that happen as one of the first big things in the community. And so I have a different perspective on it. You get used to what you see until you kind of forget what it could be, I guess, if that makes sense.
I'll just say this, the 70s and 80s were a bad time for fashion and design on everything, including the baseball stadium out there. So let's talk about your time as city attorney. I mean, how is that rewarding for you? I mean, you've been there for quite a while now.
Yes, I have been there, I think, since 2007. Jim Van Dyke, I think, was my predecessor. But it is rewarding. You get to stay in touch with what's happening in the community. Obviously, I'm not a policy maker or a decision maker. I'm kind of sitting there with Nathan on the sidelines, listening to the discussion and debate about the issues. But it's still interesting. I'm interested in what's happening in the city, whether it be paving projects or water and sewer projects and things like that. So, but then I get involved in some of the backroom drafting and that type of thing, legal analysis and that type of stuff.
How much stuff happens in the background that we don't hear about?
A lot of the details, and from my perspective, it's contracts, legalese.
All the stuff that Nathan Cones loves.
Yes.
Legalese is, I am far from fluent in that language, but just something that I've noticed over the years, whenever the council has a tough issue and they're going kind of back and forth, it's not necessarily a debate. It's like, what can we do? What are we allowed? Where are we at? Typically, when they call you in and they ask for your advice, there is rarely any deep questions. The council has complete trust in you in a good way. I mean, you're like, here's what I think, here's what I know, and they're like, all right, and then they operate on that. The level of respect they give to your knowledge, I think, is worth noting as well.
Mm-hmm. I think the general philosophy is to, if possible, to have some of those legal issues or questions resolved before they get to the discussion stage. So you don't get off track by, hey, is this, Dave, can we do this legally, and that type of thing. So. Yeah, we try to get those legal issues off the table so the council can just simply discuss and debate and talk about the issue itself.
Yeah, and don't waste time about stuff that's not possible. And things like that. So
right.
I assume a good meeting is when they don't really talk to you much at all, right?
Absolutely. I've always said that, it's kind of like a referee or an umpire. Yeah. If you don't notice them, they're doing a good job.
Yep, absolutely. I agree with that completely. You did say one thing in your speech. You mentioned kind of that Carroll is different. Can you kind of tell us again why you said that and why you think Carroll is just a different community from other communities our size?
Yeah, I have had the opportunity to be around different communities over the years. When I moved back to Carroll, you always kind of hold your hometown up on a pedestal. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times if you have a chance to move back to your hometown, it can be disappointing, that, hey, this isn't the place that I remember or used to be. It was the opposite for me. I always enjoyed Carroll, liked Carroll, but when I came back, I saw it boils down to the people, as you guys know. We're looking. The community is looking for things to better itself, to become more attractive, whether it be commercial, retail, business, and I think we have maybe a higher standard that we hold ourselves to. I believe we're deep thinkers and doers and givers.
I remember years ago I had a conversation with C.J. Niles when she was running the chamber and things like that. And I said, I was fairly new to town, and we're talking early, mid-'90s here. And I said, the level of volunteerism here is really, really good. And that is different in some other towns where you struggle to get volunteers, or it's always the same people. And there goes through stretches where that happens. But just the level of volunteerism and activism was very, very good.
Yeah. I think, and I think I used last night. I was.
Your inner JFK.
I was kind of scatterbrained last night, but I think I kind of used the phrase "culture of community." Mm-hmm. We're all in it together, and we're gonna be successful together, or not be successful together. So. Yeah, I'm not sure where that came from, Nathan, but, the old John F. Kennedy saying that, ask what your country, or ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And I put Stuck City in there.
Yeah, he took a few liberties with that historical quote, but we'll forgive you for that.
I think you chuckled a little bit about that.
I was smirking pretty hard.
I think some of the younger people probably didn't quite get that, but
and that kind of segues into where I want to go next. You talk about that culture of togetherness. One of the first things you did when you sat down before we jumped on the air here is look at the award winners on here, and you weren't even thinking about the Citizen of the Year award, the top of the pedestal. You're looking at all the other people who were recognized, and if you could just talk a bit about that list.
Yeah, I jotted this down this morning. The public service winners: Larry Devine, Vicki Gatch, humanitarian Katie Cruz. Mm-hmm. All deserving people.
By the way, I will say this: Katie was on so many committee members. She would come in for interviews. I'm like, what are you in here to talk about for now? Because first it was this, it was the CHS Foundation, then it was the RAGBRAI committee, and then it was the next. She's just like she's on from one thing to the next.
Yeah, she is just tremendous, and that's a perfect example of the people we have in this community. Mm-hmm. And then Tom and Cindy Bordenaro, the new business award winner. Of course, Chico Canny and his company. Chico's been around a long time, but just look at the list and it's impressive.
It really is.
Yeah.
Really, really is. So, Dave, we got to get going here, but we really appreciate your time. Congratulations on the award, man. Enjoy it.
Hey, thank you very much, guys.
And seriously, get that haircut. He's looking a little bushy.
Yeah, I'm gone now.
Wow.
I'm out of here.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So, Dave Bruner, once again, thanks for joining us here this morning. Citizen of the Year from last night's Chamber Banquet.